So having been laid up 3 times, I did some introspection, and I said, I wasn't smart enough to see these companies were not good companies to work for. They were in trouble before I got there, or they will be in trouble soon. And I also told myself that nobody will ever lay me off ever again in my life. I should own my own career. So I became pretty much expert in resume and job finding. I had my resume up to date, and I was sending them out and interviewing and have a job. Always, I didn't want to be caught without a job. So I was always interviewing and always had a job. I went all over U.S. Any company, in anywhere in U.S., I'll send my resume. But I didn't want to be, laid up 4th time. And it was 2-3 years, before I started to feel, no, nobody's gonna ever lay me off again. I'm very good at what I do. But for 2-3 years, I was always sending resume out and always, getting job offers and turning them down. So it was maybe 74, 75 when I started to feel very good about myself. At
Well, when you got to California, you must have. Did you have more than one job offer there?
I had a job offer with a company in Southern California called SDS, Scientific Data Systems. And
ultimately, they got in trouble too.
They got acquired by Xerox, and they got in trouble very quickly after that one. And so I had to choose between SDS and this job here at Cinder in Sunnyvale, and I like this area better than Southern California. That was the primary reason I took the job here. But also there was a little bit of job stability built into Cinder job. It was a defense contractor, and they had a new contract. They had just one, so you knew they had a stable job for at least 2 years.
They were making simulators for the Apollo program, weren't they?
They were making simulators for Air Force, Navy, NASA, private airlines. So almost any and all planes, being built, they had simulators for them. And I got hired when the world was changing from analog simulation to digital simulation. And I was one of the first set of engineers hired to make that transition happen. And so it was a pretty massive change for the company. And even though I was a junior engineer, I emerged very quickly as the linchpin, because we built this massive pipeline systems to implement algorithms in hardware, complex algorithms, hardware, and it was just the natural thing for me to be doing. So I would design systems, with 200, 300, 400 boards in it. Massive amount of memory, 64 megabyte of memory.
At that time, that was a lot.
That time was a massive amount of memory. And these systems are running at 10 megahertz speed, which is 100 nanosecond cycle. And so pumping the data through at a massive rate, to implement a real-time motion of the plane and what you will see out of the windows and what you see on the radar screen, required pumping data through these pipelines. And within 2-3 years, by 1975, I was the system engineer on these complex machines, and I had become asset, as per one of the Air Force generals, because some of these machines I was doing for them, they were just loving it. Cinder Lint, I became. So again, they were changing, right? They needed to set up systems. These are the early days of prompts and ROMs and PALs. They needed to be programmed, and they needed to So I took upon myself to set up systems. And with my background in Fortran programming and my hardware background, I became very good at setting pretty complex systems for them, so you could sustain these complex machines without massive effort. And I also learned very quickly when you have this large machine, how do you debug this machine? You have to build in diagnostics. And I specialized in building in diagnostics, self-testing. How do you made these machines self-test and report they're doing well. So there was a very wide, and there was nobody to mentor me. There was nobody to teach me because I was one of the first engineers they hired. So it was an open field, and it's like
How did you get that job?
Why?
Yeah. How did they decide you were it?
I don't know that part because you'll have to ask somebody over there. But they were transitioning from analog to digital, so they were looking for digital engineers. So I was a generic digital engineer, But within 3-4 years, I would spend 15, 16 hours a day at job because it was really fun. It was, I was doing things way beyond anybody of any of my Trohart was doing at the time. I was setting up very complex systems. I was learning new stuff. And by the way, I also went through all the early bird programs at Santa Clara University through the whole phase, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76. I took all the courses in compiler design, database design, eventually in business and also in law. I was taking all the courses available at Santa Clara University, and then eventually some courses at Stanford also. So there was the supplemental education I was taking to broaden my thinking and base, but it was mostly on my own. This thing needs to be done. Nobody in the company is even aware that needs to be done. I have time.
Were there any professors at the schools you went to at that time that influenced you more greatly than others? The early morning, early bird programs, professors don't pay much attention to you, right? And this is between 7 and 9. No, at the end it was me just going for it. Thing needed to be done. Nobody in the management is aware of it. And I know if you don't set up a prompt burning system, you will be in trouble very quickly. If you don't set up this, you'll be in trouble. And so I will set them up. And so that may be a story. So 76, things are working well. And somebody, I think general manager asked, how do we do this stuff? How do we burn prompts? How do we make sure they are done right? Nobody in his staff knew. How do we do it? And the guy who was in charge for the area where this stuff needed to be done, he came and asked his people, how do we do it? And eventually somebody says, well, this guy in the engineering came and set it up for us. And and he trained us how to run the system. So this guy calls me up, he says, why did you do it? I said, it needed to be done. He said, it wasn't your job, it was my job. And I said, oh. And he said, you shouldn't be doing the stuff that you're not assigned to you. I said, okay. I went and shut the system down. I said, okay, I'll put the system, I'll put the plug on that one. The whole company came to screeching halt. And all of a sudden, nothing is working in the company. And so I didn't, general manager said, what happened here? So this guy comes and says, we need your help. I said, no, it wasn't my job. I wasn't supposed to be doing it. And I made him really get on his hands and knees to bed because he was about to be fired. And so after that one, nobody ever messed with me. I had become very self-driven, self-sustaining, forward-looking guy, and that really prepared me for life very, very well. By the time again, another story. So there was a change of management up in New York, the headquarters. I was with Lint here, and Lint was based in Binghamton, New York. And the new general manager came out here, and he didn't know what was going on, what's power politics here. And he looked at all of us, and he said, there are going to be changes here. You guys have been, had too much freedom, blah, blah, blah. And that's the first time I said, he's probably right. There don't be changes here. What am I doing here? And I'm limited here because nobody here is teaching me anything. There's opportunities. I'm making money, but $75,000 a year is not bad money. But this valley is now becoming this is 78, 79. This valley is becoming different valley.
Yeah, lots of startups. Earlier, there were a handful of startups, but now there's a startup almost every day. And why not me? That thing started around that time. And this one person, I'll use a pseudonym because he's still around. Went and started a company. He used to work for me. I trained him, and I saw his name in the press as a founder of one of the companies. I said, David Jackson. David Jackson is an entrepreneur, somebody I trained, somebody who worked for me. What's the matter with me? Why am I stuck here? And he started one of the micro-entrepreneur company here in the Valley. And it just totally destabilized me as an individual. Why not me? I don't speak well. I'm immigrant. I say, well, David Jackson is immigrant. He was from England. He's also immigrant. So after that one, I just would not barely thought of not being an entrepreneur. And it was just a matter of time. Nothing mattered after that one. I have to go to see if I'm any good.